It started with a knock and ended with a cop in my Airbnb driveway. My neighbor had called the police on my guests, not once, but twice. This is no longer a complaint, it's harassment. Tune in because this is what I did and what I'm doing next to make sure this never happens again. I thought having a 2.5 acres in the middle of the deserts means complete privacy. Until my care neighbors started calling the cops on my Airbnb guests. Hello, I'm Fabian. And if you're new to my channel, thank you and welcome. And if you have been following me, welcome back. Love you guys. I guess it is inevitable as a short-term rental business owner. When you have an Airbnb and you're new to the area, you just never know who your neighbors are. The ones who's gonna be supportive of your rental and the ones who are gonna stab you in the back. So if you are an Airbnb owner and you haven't experienced this, tune in because this is for you and also for the ones who are thinking about getting an Airbnb. I'm gonna be sharing with you the story why my neighbor called the cops, how much are the damages, and also what I did or what I'm doing in order to address the issue and to make sure that this won't happen again. So let's go. And before we start, and if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below about your terrible experience with a neighbor and let us know what happened. It was in the middle of December during the peak season in Joshua Tree, California. Very busy. Every weekend is almost booked back to back. Guests are happy, guests are booking. And this one particular night, there's this one guest who books for one night. And something about this guest gave me that impression that they were gonna throw a party. But of course, I cannot really confirm that. They booked my property and they stayed for one night, invited a bunch of friends over. So I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, it's holiday season, be a nice host and go ahead and accommodate them. And then around 1 a.m. in the morning, I received a phone call from the officials in Joshua Tree letting me know that one of my neighbors filed a complaint for noise. And at this time, I didn't know what to do. I was panicking, I was stressing out, and I had to call the guests, I had to call Airbnb, I had to make a lot of phone calls, and mind you, it's like already like past midnight. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of the guests. They were probably busy partying, and I had to contact Airbnb support. And then they told me that they're gonna have to do their own investigation to see what happened. So they took my information. It took them like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get all the information they needed. And then they said they were gonna get back to me what happened. And then the next day I called Airbnb. I couldn't get an answer. And then I found out that my listing actually got suspended.
No!
So during this time, I couldn't get any booking and I just had to wait. And the next day, the same thing. I keep calling Airbnb support. They were giving me like a runaround answers. I couldn't get anyone that could help me and give me an updates. And then 3 days passed until the very next day, the fourth day. Finally, they put my account back on the platform and they resolved the issue. So this situation alone took them 3 full days. 3 full days that I could have had booking. 3 full days I could have had guests staying at my property, but no. This neighbor called the cop because apparently my guests were having parties. And even though I checked the camera and I couldn't confirm that, but I just had to go with it, right? Luckily, everyone is safe. And that was the repercussion of this one single phone call. Oh my God. So my neighbor called the cops once again. And this time around is because my guests brought their dog. And because I don't have a fence at the moment, the rule is you can't let your dog run around freely without a leash. And that's something that I didn't know. And so when the cop called me, They explained the rule and they told me that this time is gonna be a warning, but next time there is gonna be a fine. Lessons learned. So they asked me to submit statements from my guests and provide them with camera footage of the dog to confirm that they didn't have a leash. So I had to call the guests and disturb them while they're staying on my property and took their statements and asked them the questions and I let them know what happened, and also to make sure that they allowed their dog, they actually put a leash on their dog when they go outside so they understand. This whole transaction took maybe 30 minutes and I had to submit it to the officials. They had to review it and then, you know, let me go freely this time. So thank you, neighbor. I learned not to do this again, and that was a lessons learned. I gotta learn my lesson and not receive any more phone calls from the officials and the cops. I'm tired of it. I need to make sure that my operations run smoothly, so I need to come up with some solutions. So here are my tips. Number one, I installed a Minute device. Minute device monitors the crowd, it monitors the decibels in your property. You get to set how high or how low you want it to be inside and outside your property. So actually, it's gonna be very beneficial for you so that you can control the guests, how noisy they are in your property, and you can actually communicate with them when they reach that threshold. So it doesn't have to go reach Miss Karen over there next door and then be calling the cop on you. So definitely invest on Minute device, and I'm gonna make sure that I leave the link on the description below. Number two, make sure that your listing descriptions are very clear with your rules. I cannot emphasize this enough. Guests must know your rules and make sure that they know the consequences. If there are going to be fines, are they going to be evicted if the calls cop or they arrive at your property because they violated? That needs to be written down somewhere in your guest book, in your description. That way guests understand the seriousness of violating your house rules. And number three, have your guests fill out a guest arrival form. You can never over communicate with your guests, and I will leave my template down below, exactly the one that I use for the guests. I get it that you're gonna put your rules in your description under house rules, but the guest arrival form, it makes them acknowledge that yes, they're gonna follow your rules and they understand your house rules. And if they violated it, you can show the cop that, hey, I have them fill this out and they did acknowledge my house rules and they are going to follow them. And it's also good for Airbnb as well. If everything goes south, you can show them everything that you did to make sure that you communicate with your guests, all your house rules, and that they acknowledge them as well. And number four, that's it guys, I'm building up a fence. I'm tired of my neighbor over here being nosy and getting involved with my guests and ruining my guest experience. So definitely gonna invest on a fence. That way it will block their view. They're not gonna get involved. They don't see what's going on. And hopefully they're not gonna be calling the cops again. Cross my fingers. But if they do, I'll make sure I'll make another video. On my next video over here, I'm gonna share with you the top amenities that you need to have in your Airbnb in 2025 to keep your guests happy, collect those 5 stars, and definitely get your neighbors off your back. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please show your love and hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment section below. I want to know what happened to you and your neighbor, or maybe something terrible happened with you and the guests. We're building up a community, guys, here. We definitely wanted to learn from each other. So as I promised with you, I will share all the tips and tricks that I've learned as a host, and definitely gonna be taking you guys for a ride on my Airbnb host journey. I can't wait to see you on my next video. Until next time, peace guys.